What if I told you that there are pistols out there capable of breaking your wrist with a single shot? We're not talking about rifles. These are handguns. Small enough to holster, powerful enough to crush bone. Stay until the end as we count down the 10 most brutal pistols ever made. Firearms so extreme, they blur the line between weapon and punishment. Modern pistols aren't what they used to be. In the relentless pursuit of power, manufacturers have created handguns that rival high-powered rifles in muzzle energy, some reaching well over 5,000 foot-pounds. Why? Because some shooters demand the extreme. Whether it's for big game hunting, metal silhouette shooting, or simply pushing ballistic limits. But there's a catch. That power comes at a serious cost to the shooter's body. In this video, we'll break down what makes these pistols so dangerous, explain the physics of recoil, and show you why certain calibers can quite literally wreck your hands. Let's start with a simple concept. What is extreme power in a handgun? In this context, we're talking about any pistol that delivers well over 1,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, the raw force that launches the bullet forward and sends the gun slamming back into your hand. So where does this insane recoil come from? It all goes back to Newton's third law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. When the bullet exits the barrel at high speed, your hand pays the price. The bigger the caliber, the heavier the projectile, the faster it moves, the more violence your body absorbs. But that's not the whole story. There are 4 major factors that amplify recoil. 1. Caliber and bullet mass. Heavier bullets need more energy to move, and that energy hits you right back. 2. Muzzle velocity. A faster bullet means more kinetic energy, and that translates to a sharper recoil impulse. 3. Gun weight. Here's the twist. Heavier guns recoil less. Why? Because their mass absorbs more of the kick. Lighter guns, you feel everything. 4. Gun design. Is it a semi-auto with a gas system? Or a single-action revolver with no recoil buffer? How the gun manages recoil matters almost as much as how much it generates. Here's where things get dangerous. Extreme recoil isn't just uncomfortable, it can be physically damaging. We're talking about muscle strains, ligament tears, and even bone fractures in the hand and wrist. Some shooters describe it like getting hit by a hammer. Others say it feels like a mini explosion in your palm. And no, it's not just dramatic exaggeration. Medical reports confirm that repeated high recoil shooting can lead to carpal tunnel syndrome, tendinitis, stress fractures in the wrist and fingers, and long-term joint damage that can sideline you permanently. And here's the scary part. You don't need to fire hundreds of rounds. One bad shot with poor grip or stance, and your hand could suffer serious trauma. That's why understanding which pistols carry these risks is not just important, it's essential. Let's kick off the list with a literal beast, the Smith Wesson Model 500. Chambered in the 500 SNW Magnum, this is the most powerful production revolver in the world. Its muzzle energy, up to 2,600 foot-pounds, and in some hot loads, even more than 3,000. Now, SNW tried to tame the beast. It features a massive X-frame design, built to withstand enormous pressure, plus a compensator to redirect gases and rubber grips to soften the blow. But let's be clear, this thing kicks like a freight train. Shooters describe the recoil as violent, punishing, and in some cases, unmanageable. One user reported developing a painful lump in his palm that took a year to heal after just a few sessions. Another said it felt like a grenade going off in your hand. If you're not wearing padded gloves and bracing properly, the Model 500 can and will injure you. Think the Model 500 was bad? Meet the Magnum Research BFR, chambered in 500 Bushwhacker, a revolver so powerful it's often compared to elephant rifles. This monster pushes over 5,000 foot-pounds of energy, more than double the Smith & Wesson 500. That's right, this handgun hits harder than some .458 Winchester Magnum safari rifles. It's built heavy for a reason. Some versions weigh over 5 pounds and stretch 21 inches in length with a muzzle brake. Yet even with all that weight helping to reduce kick, the recoil is still unrelentingly brutal. Shooters describe it as pure violence, with some saying it felt like their hand was ripped back by a machine. One gun expert compared the experience to trying to stop a sledgehammer mid-swing with your bare palm. While there's less documentation of direct injuries, likely because so few dare to shoot it often, the physical risk is clear. The Bushwhacker is not just a gun, it's a recoil endurance test. That's exactly what the Magnum Research BFR does when chambered in .45-70 government, a cartridge originally designed in the 1870s for full-length rifles. But in a pistol, that same cartridge can generate nearly 3,500 foot-pounds of energy from a 10-inch barrel. So how does it feel? Well, it depends on who you ask. Some veteran shooters say it's surprisingly manageable, with gloves. Others describe it as exhausting, painful, and even a chore to control. The BFR in .45-70 offers one of the most deceptive profiles. Its brushed stainless steel and elegant frame disguise a handgun that kicks like a mule on steroids. And remember, because it's not a semi-auto, all that recoil slams directly into your hand, unfiltered, uncompromised. This is a revolver for those who know what they're doing and have strong wrists, thick glove, and no fear. Now, let's talk about speed. The Smith Wesson 460 XVR fires one of the fastest revolver rounds on Earth, the 460 S&W Magnum. It can reach velocities over 2,300 feet per second, generating nearly 3,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. That means this revolver doesn't just kick, it snaps, slams, and pounds with breakneck violence. Now, S&W markets this revolver as surprisingly controllable, thanks to its weight and interchangeable compensators. But user reports paint a different picture. One shooter described it as intolerable for anyone but hardcore Magnum fans. Another said, after a few cylinders, your elbow and shoulder will be sore for days. And let's not forget, this is still a revolver, which means all the energy comes straight back with no gas system to absorb the hit. If the 500 S&W is the king of brute force, the 460 is the speed demon that slices through your nerves. Before all these super magnums, there was the 454 Casull, and no revolver represents its legacy better than the Freedom Arms Model 83. Built like a Swiss watch, tight tolerances, perfect lockup, unmatched strength, this revolver was the first of its kind to harness the terrifying pressures of the 454. It delivers nearly 2,500 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, and does so with no mercy. Unlike gas-operated pistols, this single-action beast transfers the full force of recoil directly into your hand. Shooters call it one of the most brutal revolvers ever made. One said it felt like a steel fist punching his palm. Another called it a physical challenge, not just a shot. And the danger? If your gripper stance is off, even slightly, this revolver can cause serious tendon or joint damage. This isn't just a piece of history. It's a measuring stick for recoil fear. You've seen it in movies. You've heard the name whispered in awe, the Desert Eagle. Specifically, the 5D Action Express version, the most powerful semi-automatic pistol in production. It delivers between 1,400 and 1,800 foot-pounds of energy per shot. That's not just powerful, it's insane for a semi-auto. But here's the twist. The gas-operated mechanism in the Desert Eagle actually helps tame the beast. By redirecting some of the gases to cycle the action, it reduces the felt recoil, slightly. Still, shooters say it feels like a controlled explosion in the hands. One described it as a fun but fatiguing ride. Another noted that follow-up shots are nearly impossible unless you're a bodybuilder. So while it may not shatter bones, the Desert Eagle 50 AE will definitely punish poor form, and your wrists will feel it after just a few magazines. Next on the list, the Taurus Raging Bull, a revolver that lives up to its name in every sense. Available in 454 Casull and 500 S&W Magnum, this handgun pushes muzzle energies well beyond 2,400 foot-pounds. What sets it apart? Taurus adds a few smart features: ported barrels, rubber grips, and a heavy frame, all to reduce recoil. But even with those upgrades, the Raging Bull still kicks like, well, a Raging Bull. Shooters say the ports help, but only so much. One compared it directly to a .44 Magnum with Magna porting and concluded, the Raging Bull kicks more, period. Another shooter admitted, it was fun for the first cylinder. After that, it became a test of will.
This is a revolver that rewards discipline and punishes mistakes, and it's not for the faint of wrist.
Let's wrap up our top 10 with two iconic revolvers that prove compact doesn't mean gentle. First, the Ruger Super Red Hawk Alaskan. This snub-nosed brute is chambered in 454 Casull and 480 Ruger, and its 2.5-inch barrel makes the recoil feel even worse. Why? Because there's less gun to absorb the force. One user said, "It felt like someone punched me through my palm and up into my shoulder." Even with rubber grips and heavy steel, the short barrel delivers a concentrated shockwave right into your hand. Then we have the legendary Smith Wesson Model 29, made famous by Dirty Harry and chambered in .44 Magnum. It may be the lightest on this list, but don't be fooled. At max loads, the recoil is described as sharp and violent, brutal if shot one-handed, and yes, enough to split your fingers open if your grip is weak. These guns prove that recoil isn't just about numbers. It's about how the force is delivered and where it lands. Extreme pistols are not just engineering marvels. They're also a reminder of the raw, unforgiving power behind every trigger pull. Whether it's the bone-breaking recoil of the 500 Bushwhacker, the nerve-rattling snap of the 460 S&W, or the deceptive violence of a snub-nose 454 Casull, these handguns push the very limit of what the human hand can handle. And while modern design can reduce the sting, no amount of technology can erase the laws of physics. So, whether you're a hunter, a collector, or just a curious enthusiast, respect the recoil or risk paying the price. If this video made your hands hurt just watching, drop a comment below and tell us, which of these beasts would you dare to shoot? Don't forget to subscribe for more expert breakdowns and ballistic deep dives. And if you want to see the craziest airguns that punch above their weight, check out our video on the FX Impact M3 and Maverick series right here. Stay sharp, stay safe, and keep your wrists intact. This is Gun Insights, signing off.